Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today, from Sullivan Stadium, it's the Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. Brought to you by...
2 years ago, the Patriots had their greatest comeback ever. Down 23-0 to Seattle in the first half, Steve Grogan was benched. And Tony Eason was introduced to the New England Patriot football fans. Eason ran 25 yards for the Patriots' first touchdown. The 23-point deficit was overcome, and the win was completed when Eason hit Irving Fryer for the first touchdown as a Patriot by Fryer, as the Patriots beat Seattle 38-23. It's overcast, foggy, and drizzling here in Foxborough. Hello, everybody. This is Tom Davis with former NFL great Dave Rowe, welcoming you to Sullivan Stadium, where today Seattle takes on the New England Patriots. Both teams are undefeated. Tony Eason has arrived. He's completed better than 62% of his passes this season, has yet to throw an interception. But Dave Rowe, has he been accepted here by the New England fans?
Well, that's a tough question because everyone here loves Steve Grogan, and he's still on this team, and he's a very integral part. He signals the plays into Tony Eason, but I think he's being accepted more and more.
Now, how does Eason attack that Seattle defense led by Kenny Eason?
Well, he has to have a good day throwing short, and they have a great ground game. They run that ball, and they run that ball, and they really wear you down with the running game.
Seattle's defense has only given up 17 points, but New England's is a shade better. They have yet to give a touchdown. In fact, only given up 9 points so far. Are they the best defense in the NFL this year?
Well, they certainly have all the ingredients. They've got great linebackers. They've got a great secondary. Their defensive line is young, but boy, they can really come after you, and they can put great pressure on a quarterback.
Chuck Knox, Seattle's coach, tied Sid Gilman for 11th place on the all-time win list as an NFL coach at 122 as the Seahawks beat Kansas City last week. And Raymond Berry, of course, one of the fine coaches in the National Football League, has a 10-2 career record right here at Sullivan Stadium. We're ready for football. New England has lost the toss. Seattle will receive the football. And the return men for the Seattle Seahawks, number 30, Bobby Joe Edwards, to the top of the screen. To the bottom of the screen, Randall Morris, Tony Franklin, awaiting the word to go with the kickoff, and we're ready for football here in Foxborough. Edmonds takes it at the 12. He's out to the 31-yard line. Derwin Williams makes the tackle for the New England Patriots. Seattle's offense has a diversified attack under their new coordinator, Steve Moore. Steve Largent is third on the NFL all-time receiving list. John L. Williams is a rookie. Seattle's offensive line permitted 53 sacks in 85. The group is on a weight program, and they're using a new blocking scheme this year. From the 31, first down for Seattle. Intended for Steve Largent at the 47-yard line, incomplete. Ronnie Lepet on the coverage for New England. Here's the defensive line of the New England Patriots. They're excellent. 8 of the 11 overall defensive players for the Patriots are either number 1 or number 2 picks. Brent Williams is a rookie. The linebackers are considered the best in the AFC. Tippett may be the best in the National Football League. And as for the defensive backs, all 4 started every game in 85. They permitted just 14 touchdowns. 2nd and 10 from the Seattle 31. This is Kurt Warner trying to get outside. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. It'll bring up a 3rd and 10. Ronnie Lepet, along with Raymond Claiborne and Fred Marion, were there to push him out of bounds.
And Tom, it's interesting to note that Seattle has already started to run towards Andre Tippett's side. They feel that they have got to keep him occupied. They just can't have him putting pressure from the backside, so they're going to try to run at him. And they have already come out and established this first play, running right at Andre Tippett. And of course, he got out of bounds for only a 1-yard gain.
So it brings up a 3rd and 9 from the 32-yard line. Craig the pass, pressure coming. Blackburn with the pressure, the pass is incomplete at the 45. It's a bit short.
And Tom, to watch that, Dave Craig was under a lot of pressure that time. The Patriots realize they just have got to get pressure on Dave Craig, and Andre Tippett made a great play that time. He flushed him out of the pocket, but Craig had the foresight to set up quickly and try to come back with that pass. It may be tough to pass today with this wet field. Every time the ball hits the turf, it's going to be wet.
Vince Gamache, the punter for Seattle. So they got this one as a high hanger, but it's going to bounce around the 44-yard line of Seattle where it's covered there. John Kaiser covered the ball for Seattle. So New England gets its first shot offensively, and we're going to take a look at those offensive players for the New England Patriots. The Patriots have some of the fastest receivers on cleats, and Tony Collins blocks extremely well for Craig James. Patriots offensive line a bit thin with the retirement of John Hanna. The right tackle Steve Moore tips the scale at 346. Punt was only 24 yards, 1st and 10 for the Patriots. Ball spotted at the 44. And Eason to pass, flipping it out of the backfield. Completing the pass to Craig James, and Eugene Robinson comes up to make the tackle.
Eugene Robinson on the tackle.
Seattle's defensive line is excellent. Jacob Green is a master at getting to the quarterback. New England has permitted fewer points. They're the only team fewer than Seattle. The linebackers are led by Keith Butler as we come up on a 2nd down now from the 44. This is Tony Collins, gets near midfield. Terry Taylor for Seattle comes up to make the hit.
It's really interesting to watch this Patriot team. We talked about them wearing down. They really wear down defenses, and then they almost rob you because they do the takeaways. Seattle has a very much similar defense. They wear you down with their strength. They just keep on coming after you. But the Patriots, as they run, their running game is more deceptive than anything. They don't have the mercurial running back that runs 4-3 in the 40-yard dash, but James and Collins are just tremendous combination back there.
Each one of those Seattle defensive backs listed as an interception already this season. 3rd and 2, Eason wants to throw and does. Down the middle, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Irving Fryer, at the 35-yard line. That'll bring up 4th down in a punting situation. Stanley Morgan was the intended receiver, excuse me.
Well, Tom, it's interesting that, again, that Seattle came out right away and answered the call. This could have all the makings of being just an exciting game, just a wonderful game today, because you have two strong teams. And Seattle came out with that 24 punt. They stopped them in 3 plays. They're going to get the ball back. So their defense has really come out and done the job in this first series.
Bobby Joe Edmonds awaiting the football around the 10-yard line, makes the catch, stays in bounds, and comes forth to the 20, fumble the football. Scramble for it, a mad scramble, and the Patriots are signaling they have it at around the 23-yard line.
And I think they're going to give it back to Seattle. I think they called him down on the ground when he in fact fumbled it. Now this is one of those plays when, of course, the instant replay can play an effect. The referee was right there in the position. You'll see in the right of your screen. Now watch Edmonds. Let's see if he gets, we can let the fans judge whether his knee is down when he gets hit. Ouch, I don't know about that. Oh, I see what happened. The ball was touched out of bounds. That's what happened.
With 12:56 left to play first quarter, we're scoreless here in Foxborough. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe on NBC from the Sullivan Stadium. And Dave Rowe, look at the replay.
Well, this is what happened. See, now the fumble is right there. That was a fumble, but watch the ball bounce up and hit Bobby Joe Edmonds out of bounds. You see the ball bounce off his chest? He is an out of bounds, so the ball is considered out of bounds. Well, that's great camera work by our crew. That's a tremendous shot. And that's the thing that would play in an instant replay. They could tell if that ball had been ruled in bounds, they could overrule a play like that with the instant replay.
For Seattle, their second possession, game scoreless. First down from the 20-yard line for the Seahawks. Steve Largent wide to the top of the screen, and Craig turns and hands off to John L. Williams, and Williams gets a quick 5 yards crossing the 25. Here's a look at some NBC scores on our 10-minute ticker. Miami and the Jets just underway like we are. The Denver Broncos have a quick 2-0 lead on a safety over the Eagles, and Atlanta and Dallas just underway also. The Cowboys are 8-1 against St. Louis. All the rest of the games, the Colts playing against the Rams, the first time those two teams have met since 1975, and Minnesota's grabbed a quick touchdown lead over the Steelers. 2nd and 4 for Seattle from the 26-yard line. This is Kurt Warner. Warner gets out near the 29-yard line where linebacker Steve Nelson for New England, along with Toby Williams, the nose tackle, makes the stop.
And you see right now, Tom, I know our fans see this, they are attacking the strength of this Patriots defensive unit. Andre Tippett, number 56, is probably the strongest linebacker out there. And Tippett, they're running right at him. He was the AFC Defensive Player of the Year last year, 16.5 sacks. And they said, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to tackle us. You're not going to get us from behind.
Double tight ends into the game for Seattle. Hudson and Tice. The motion comes from Lane. The handoff goes to Kurt Warner near first down yardage. Fred Marion was there to make the stop along with Steve Nelson. We'll have to wait to see where they mark the football.
Well, it's interesting that right away they keep on coming back, running at Tippett. He's the we talked about the AFC Defensive Player of the Year. You can see him right there, number 56 in your screen. He's down on the end of the line. Now see, he's trying to get penetration. Steve Nelson's in there, 57. He's got a good shot. There's the running back. Warner finds the seam, and I think he picked up the first down.
He did, in fact, Dave. First down for Seattle from the 31-yard line. Warner and Williams, the setbacks behind Dave Craig on a 1st and 10 from the 31. Game scoreless. Craig hands off to Williams. Williams finds it tough, cut back a little bit, and got out to around the 34-yard line where Roland James, the strong safety for New England, came up to make the tackle.
And one thing that the Patriots do so well in this 34 defense, of course, both teams play 34, meaning 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. That's the call of it, 34. What they do so well is react to the ball. If you don't get to the point of attack, if their hole isn't there, very rarely will you get a cutback because there's great pursuit by these linebackers and off linemen to where the play is. So there's very little cutback ability in this defense.
2nd and 8 from the 33 for the Seahawks. Largen in motion to the top of the screen. Craig wants to pass. The rush is on. He floats one out. Completes his pass to number 88, Byron Franklin for Seattle. Andre Tippett right there at the point of impact of the catch and drove him back almost to the line of scrimmage.
Now, Tippett 56 is on Mike Tice. That's who he is playing. You can see him right there. Now, Tice is right in front of him now. He's blocking. This is a delay play. In other words, he blocks him. Now, watch Tice. He's going to go out for a quick pass. Look how quickly Tippett reacts back. That was about a 1-yard pass. You can see a little pushing and shoving there on the tail end of that. There's some guys that don't like playing pretty aggressive football out there.
From the 35, 3rd and 6 for Seattle. First quarter, scoreless game, 9:33 to go first quarter. Craig from the shotgun. Completing his pass to Ray Butler as he crosses the 40-yard line. Butler out near the 43 where Ronnie Lepet makes the tackle for New England. That's good enough for close to first down yardage, and is a first down for the Seattle Seahawks. Butler, former Colt, Indianapolis Colt player that was cut last year and picked up quickly by Mike McCormick. McCormick coached him in Baltimore.
Well, he saw the potential in Ray Butler and said if we can straighten out his attitude a little bit. He had a bad attitude in Indianapolis, and we might as well tell the truth. He wasn't well appreciated. He came out to Seattle, and he has really played fine football for them.
First down from the Seattle 42. The lead back is Williams. Warner takes the play fake. Craig wants to throw and does. The pass is short. Intended for Byron Franklin. Coverage by Andre Tippett.
And Craig is upset with himself because the ball has slipped out of his hand that time. Now this is a secondary shot. You see everyone's dropping to a 2-deep zone. That means you've got 2 lines of effect. You've got 3 dropping deep, and then you've got 3 short. He's trying to throw underneath the deep coverage and be in front of the secondary coverage, and he's just not getting the ball out there. Whether it's wet, he can't get a grip on it. He's just not throwing the ball well to start this game.
Craig 2 of 5 for 9 yards so far. 2nd down and 10. This is Kurt Warner, 45, and out of bounds near the 49-yard line. Steve Nelson of the Patriots ran him out. It's a quick pickup of 7.
And Tom, we've talked about Kurt Warner and his knee surgery. He had an unbelievable knee injury. He just totally blew his knee out. That's what they call it in sports, when you just tear everything in your knee. And the coaching staff, particularly Joe Vitt, who was their strength and conditioning coach, said he worked harder than anybody. You could not believe the dedication that that young man had to come back and strengthen that knee. And there are a lot of us, me included, that think he is better than what he was 2 years ago when he first came into this league. He is an exceptional player, a tremendous human being, and a great gentleman.
course, you're a little partial coming from Penn State with Warner, right?
Just a touch.
Greg's pass complete to Steve Largent. Inside New England territory, Ernest Gibson with the coverage there, and that moves Steve Largent up one more to 126 straight games. He's one away from the NFL record set by Harold Carmichael of catching passes in consecutive games.
Well, Mr. Reliable, Steve Largent. You can always go to him. They go to him in some of the real possession downs when they need that third down, because he has probably one of the most reliable set of hands in this league. He has got great concentration, looks the ball in. Just a magnificent receiver, and he has been for year after year.
Gain of 9 on the play. The game is scoreless here in Foxborough. Straight ahead, good hard running there by the Seattle Seahawks. Coverage by Steve Nelson.
Right now, Seattle is controlling the line of scrimmage. You'll see there in the front there is Garen Veras, that's Toby Williams, 90. Now he plays across, but Blair Bush, 59, gets a great block. He positions Toby Williams, and Toby Williams is just watching the play. He just doesn't get over to the ball. And they are playing power football right now, one-on-one, man-on-man. There's no finesse out there right now. It's just strength football.
From the New England 36, Seattle has a 2nd and 4. This is Kurt Warner, but he won't get outside because Lawrence McGrew, along with Garen Veras, were there to make the hit.
Well, the one thing that'll hurt you faster than anything is penetration, and that's what Lawrence McGrew does. He's number 50 in your screen. You'll see him to the backside. Now watch how quickly he jumps through this hole and picks up Kurt Warner. Now there he is in your screen. He's got him wrapped up, picks up about a 4-yard loss on that play. Great penetration. See, no one blocks him. He's just going to the hole. That's the thing that the Patriots do so well, the great linebacking core that they have. They react quickly to the ball.
So a 3-yard loss, bringing up 3rd and 7 for Seattle at the 39-yard line of New England. Out of the shotgun, Craig sets near midfield. Unbelievable! Garen Veras wrapped him up by just holding him around his foot and would not give up. Garen Veras, the right end, filled in nicely for Sims when he got hurt last year. He continues to do the good job.
Well, you called it unbelievable. You're going to see this is what you call a shoestring tackle. Now you'll see Garen Veras just reach in. Now there he is on the ground. He just grabs his leg. Now Craig still was trying to get the ball off. All of a sudden he says, wait a minute, I can't even run. I got to go down. Oh boy, what a good play.
Irving Fryer, the return man, with 6:18 to go in the first quarter. Game scoreless, and Fryer watches as the ball bounces out of bounds to the 12-yard line. So New England with possession, and we'll be back with 6:12 to go first quarter. We're still scoreless here in Foxborough. Foxborough, Sullivan Stadium. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe. We're in a scoreless game with 6:12 to go first quarter, and you can see it's foggy, it's damp. In fact, it's been drizzling all morning here. 53 degrees. New England with its second possession from the 12-yard line of the Patriots. First down. This is Craig James. James gets out near the 17-yard line. And the pickup of 5 yards on the play with Greg Gaines of Seattle making the stop.
Now, how about those fans? It's a nice sunny day here in New England. Look at that. No shirts on. They're spelling out something. I think that's Patriots they're spelling out. Look at that. Patriots. I believe that's what they're spelling. Oh, wouch.
2nd and 5 for the Patriots from the 17-yard line. Eason throwing and looking for Irving Fryer at the 29, but he could not make the catch. Terry Taylor was on the coverage. We're going to update you on scores here. Look at the Denver Broncos with a safety and a field goal, shutting out Philadelphia.
Marv Albert's enjoying that one, isn't he?
And the Indianapolis Colts continue to lead the Rams by a touchdown. How about the Steelers in Minnesota? They're tied at 7, and we've got Don Criqui and Bob Trumpy there. Mosi Tutupu and Greg Hawthorne in the lineup now. Double tight ends with 3rd and 5. Ball spotted at the 17, and Eason drops back around the 9. His pass in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Mosi Tutupu. Good coverage there by Greg Gaines. It'll bring up a 4th and 5 from the 17 and a punting situation for the Patriots.
And Tom, one of the big matchups that we're going to continue watching today is Steve Moore and Jacob Green. They really are having quite a matchup out there. Steve Moore weighs 346 pounds. He's got to be the biggest man in football. They called him a mobile home last year. This year they call him a house. Must have had a little addition built on. Maybe around the waistline.
Tough to find a scale that'll weigh him, right?
They take him down in the back of a pickup truck.
5:35 to go first quarter, still scoreless from Foxborough. fallen on by the Patriots. Johnny Rempert appears around the 15-yard line, but Seattle's going to have great field position. John Kaiser credited with the recovery for Seattle, and Camarillo had the punt attempt blocked.
And they just poured in here. They had 10 men up on the line of scrimmage. Now you see he takes a little bit extra time, and look at the men coming in there. There's two right there that are blocking the ball, and someone else comes in from the other side. They really came after him. And listen to this Patriot crowd calling for their defense. This could be one of the big turning points in the game.
First block punt during the regular season so far for the New England Patriots. Big break, 1st and 10, ball spotted at the 13. Out of the I formation for Seattle. Craig looking to get on the scoreboard. Neither team has scored so far. This is Kurt Warner. Warner straight ahead, 5-10. Touchdown for the Seattle Seahawks. It's a 13-yard run, and Seattle's taken a 6-0 lead with 5:20 left first quarter.
And the thing that Kurt Warner does so well is fast feet. He gets into the hole. He's got great vision into the hole. Once he sees that little seam, he just explodes through it. And look at that touchdown ratio. 23 touchdowns in 36 games. That's quite a ratio for a running back to have.
And Seattle wastes no time converting the turnover into 6 points.
Gilbert will be holding.
Tom, this game is played around mistakes, and that was a big mistake for the Patriots. To have a punt block that deep in their territory is almost inexcusable.
Norm Johnson attempting the point after.
Kick is good.
So with a quiet crowd here in Foxborough, 5:20 left first quarter, Seattle leading New England 7-0. Seattle and New England, Tom Davis and Dave Rowe, and a big turnover for the New England Patriots. It led to a 13-yard touchdown by Kurt Warner, and Seattle leads it 7-0 with 5:20 to go first quarter, and Seattle's all ready to kick off once again.
And Tom, this is nothing new for the New England Patriots. We talked about them being behind big 2 years ago. Last year they were behind 13-7. So this is one of those games that, regardless of what the score is, you don't want to miss it.
Here's Norm Johnson's kickoff. Irving Fryer comes up one around the 7-yard line to make the catch. Fryer with a nice return out to the 32-yard line.
Tom, let's take another look if we can at that punt. I wanted to point out two things to our fans. Now watch here, you'll see a little short step right there. Now this is what takes the time. It's a 2-step, it's actually a 3-step, 1, 2, and you see how long he's taking. He is covering about 5 yards in his kick. And this is what it leads to. Now this is the Kurt Warner touchdown. We talked about the vision. Look at that vision in the hole there. He just sees that little seam, explodes through that hole, picks up the big 7 points, and it's got Seattle down in the lead.
Tony Collins and Craig James are the running backs for New England. Patriots have had the ball for just a few plays, 3 downs on their first series, and 3 more before they had to punt for a second time, and the punt was blocked by Kerry Justin, which led to the touchdown by Kurt Warner. Camarillo's first regular season punt in 328 attempts. Amazing. 7-0 Seattle. Motion coming from Stanley Morgan. This is Craig James. James gets near the 35-yard line. Fred Young, the linebacker for Seattle, made the initial contact. It's a short gain of just 2 yards.
I watched Jacob Green, that time number 79. He's against Steve Moore, and we talked about that matchup. And Jacob Green took an inside position. Now watch how quickly he jumps inside. Steve Moore just gets a hand, tries to give him a little shove. Now watch how quickly Jacob Green reacts back to the ball, and he actually gets back in the play. But look at the size of Steve Moore, 347 pounds after breakfast.
From the 35 for New England, 2nd and 8. Eason's pitch goes to Tony Collins. Collins gets across the 35, is stopped around the 36-yard line by Joe Nash, the nose tackle, along with Bruce Schultz, the linebacker. And Dave, you played nose tackle or nose guard with the Raiders. Why did they change the name to the position?
Well, they did change. I want to point out, there's the signal. Steve Grogan's calling the play. Ramsey on the right in the blue coat is signaling it in. They've changed that position over and over. They called it a nose tackle, a defensive nose tackle, a middle guard. I think now they're going to come up with some kind of a new name for that position, but it's a tough position. And Joe Nash plays it as well as anybody can play it for Seattle Seahawks. He is a great player.
3rd and 6. complete to number 80, Irving Fryer. First down for the Patriots. They're in Seattle territory for the first time today. Made the catch with Dave Brown all over him, a 31-yard gain.
And that's his first catch of the season because he has been backing up Stephen Starring, who has been the starter. And Fryer just gets outside. He looks back. Now watch the time that Eason has here. He just lays that thing up. And you'll see the look back from Fryer at the tail end. He looks back, stretches out. Good concentration. Solid hands, comes down with both feet in bounds.
Seattle 7, New England nothing. 3:47 to go, first quarter. New England in Seattle territory for the first time today. First down from the 32-yard line. This is James getting outside to the 30. Couldn't break the tackle there as Dave Brown came up to make the initial contact for Seattle.
And Dave Brown is the senior citizen on this defensive secondary. Each one of them has an interception. You can see the stats on Craig James there, 3.2 average so far. But Dave Brown, number 22 for the Seattle Seahawks, has really been a leader on this defensive secondary. He's in his 12th year, Tom. That's great for a defensive back.
New England wanting to capitalize after the 31-yard reception by Fryer. Eason to pass. Pressure comes from Jacob Green. Eason running with the football, 20, 15, 10, and he dives forward to the 7-yard line. Impressive run by Tony Eason. Eugene Robinson saved the touchdown run.
And you asked whether the fans like him. Look at those fans standing up and cheering Tony Eason. That's something that Steve Grogan has done in the past, but Tony Eason has not. And Tony Eason takes this ball and he runs 22 yards. And Jacob Green really was the one who had a chance at him. Now here's Jacob Green, number 79. He's taking an inside rush. He's trying to flush him out of the pocket, and he does a good job. You can see Eason steps up, and then he's off for a 22-yard run. This is very uncharacteristic of Tony Eason. He is not a running quarterback. You can see right here, he dives to get that extra yard.
Coming down to the 2:20 mark of the first quarter, Seattle leading 7-0. New England knocking on the door for a score here. This is Tony Collins. He's got running room and has a touchdown. New England trailing now by a point with 2:12 to go in the first quarter. A 6-yard touchdown run for Tony Collins. Irving Fryer with a 31-yard reception. Tony Eason with a 24-yard run, and then Collins delivers the 6-yard TD. The Patriots are within a point after of tying this game. Tony Franklin with a point after attempt. It's good, and we're tied. 2:12 to go, first quarter. We'll be back with more from Foxborough, New England, and Seattle tied at 7. Scores here on NBC. The Jets have the advantage over Miami. Denver continues to build on. Philadelphia and Atlanta's on the scoreboard against Dallas. Buffalo and St. Louis continue scoreless, and the Rams have tied up Indianapolis. Same thing in Pittsburgh and Minnesota. You can see the clock in the corner of the screen with 2:12 to go first quarter. Because of the fog and the overcast conditions, that's as sharp as the clock's going to get until some of this fog gets out of Foxborough.
Kind of looks like the light bulbs are a little bit dim.
Tony Franklin with the kickoff here. Game tied at 7. And Bobby Joe Edmonds with the return from the 15. Takes it out to the 25, and a tremendous hit laid on by Ed Reynolds of the New England Patriots.
I wanted to tell you on that run, watch 66 there. That's Paul Fairchild. He's the one that replaced John Hanna. Now watch his block right here at the end. He gets a great block right there on the linebacker coming across. That's Eugene Robinson, 41, which enables a touchdown. But that's the kind of play that they need out of that left guard to replace the great John Hanna, who we took away. We took him to NBC Sports.
That's right.
He's one of our color analysts now.
Steve Largent wide to the left on a first down from the 26 for Seattle out of the I formation. Williams the lead back. The handoff to Kurt Warner, finds running room off the right side, crosses the 30 and gets out to the 36-yard line, very close to a first down. Fred Marion, the free safety, along with Ronnie Lepet, the left cornerback for New England making the tackle, and we're going to have to see where they officially mark that ball. It'll probably be a 2nd and 1.
And you can look at the statistics on Kurt Warner. Great ability into the hole. We talked about the vision. But again, they keep on running at the strength of this Patriot defense. They're running at Tippett's side. He is Mr. AFC Defensive Player of the Year, and they've just come out and they've established it. And they said, if you're going to beat us, we're going to run right at you. You're going to have to beat us with power football.
Warner with the 13-yard touchdown run. The handoff this time to John Williams. He has the first down, crosses the 40, and boy, he's difficult to bring down out to the 43-yard line where Fred Marion made the hit, but not before an 8-yard gain and a first down.
And you talked about him being a tough player to bring down. He has had good statistics as far as blocking. He has been a real force back there blocking for Kurt Warner. He is a rookie out of Florida. Now watch the leg strength he has into the hole. He's hit here. Now there's 1, 2. Now watch, he just doesn't go down. He drives those legs and he picks up another 3, 4 yards, and he just didn't want to go down. He is a very key player in the Seattle offense.
The game tied at 7. Seattle has a first down from their own 43. Kurt Warner gets the call again, running almost in the same direction. Across the 45-yard line, gets out to the 46. 50, Lawrence McGrew around Kurt Warner to bring him down.
Now there's a lot of strategy, Tom, that goes on between the coaches on either side. They're up here in the press box, and one of the coaches on the Patriots is probably calling down, say, hey, look, they're running on Tippett's side. We've got to strengthen up there. Tell Brent Williams, who's the left end, we've got to tighten up. And for the Seahawks, they're saying, okay, they're starting to tighten up on the left side. We've got to come back to the right side. So there's a lot of strategy that goes on with the coaching staffs.
2nd and 7 for Seattle. This probably will be the last play of the first quarter. Kurt Warner trying to get outside. Fred Marion there to make the tackle, but I see a penalty marker at the 42-yard line of Seattle.
And it was a late flag. It looks as if it's going to be holding against Seattle, so it's really going to nullify a short gain and put them deep in the hole.
7 seconds to go first quarter. Kurt Warner with a 13-yard touchdown. That coming after Kerry Justin blocked a Rich Camarillo punt. The first time Camarillo's had a punt block.
For the offense, 2nd down will be replayed.
And I know who that is. That's Bob Frederick. See, I know that because I played down there, and he used to yell at me. I don't know why he yelled at me, Tom, but he didn't like me.
Were you a dirty player?
No, I was a really nice guy out there. John Hanna didn't think I was, but I really was a nice guy out there.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter. Kurt Warner's touchdown along with Tony Collins has things even here in Foxborough after 1. With Dave Rowe, this is Tom Davis welcoming you back to Foxborough after 1. We're tied at 7, and the turnover really very costly for New England.
Well, this game is played around 5 or 6 big plays. That was a big play. Coaches always look for mistakes. You, the fans, saw that mistake. It was a block punt on Camarillo, turned in 7 points for Seattle. Then the Patriots really drove down the field. The big play, of course, was the Easton run, the Fryer pass, and wow, it's back to 7-7, Tom.
And New England really wasted no time getting back on the scoreboard. The Seahawks have 60 yards on the ground. That's a 5-yard average per carry during the first quarter. Seattle now moving left to right. They're in the blue and silver. And Seattle, of course, in the red, white, and blue, the white tops and the red trousers. 15 minutes to go first half, and game tied at 7. This is John L. Williams trying to get outside, could not. He's down at the 36-yard line. Time now to go to NFL 86 and Bob Costas.
All right, Tom, next up on the Patriots schedule, the Denver Broncos, and they've got to beware of stuff like this. Randall Cunningham to the air in Philadelphia, picked off by Mike Harden. That orange crush defense is on a rampage again. Harden brings it back 30 yards for the touchdown. They lead 12-0 in the first.
Well, we're tied at 7 early in the second quarter. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe back again here with you in Foxborough at Sullivan Stadium. Out of the shotgun, Dave Craig has 4 receivers to choose from and sets at the 28-yard line. Plenty of time to throw. Looking for Largent, incomplete. Great coverage there by Ernest Gibson.
It's about time for our 10-minute ticker, I believe. We've got some interesting games there.
Miami has taken a lead over the New York Jets. Don Shula and Joe Walton were teammates of the 57 Redskins, and they're together against one of those coaches today. And the Rams quickly on top of the Colts after the Colts built an early 7-0 lead. And Minnesota now has got the advantage over Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay on the scoreboard against the Lions. Punting situation now. Irving Fryer, the return man for New England.
Wow, he got a big one, Tom. That was a great punt.
Ball goes out of bounds at the 14-yard line. We'll be back with more coverage of New England and Seattle in just 1 minute. Sullivan Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts. 14:05 left to play first half. New England with the ball, and a first down from their own 14-yard line. Game tied at 7. Patriots with Irving Fryer and Stanley Morgan as the wide receivers. Craig James takes the handoff straight ahead and gets out to the 19-yard line for a 5-yard gain, where Gregory Johnson, the safety of Seattle, makes the stop.
And I watched Eugene Robinson trying to rip the ball out that time in defense. And that's what this Seattle team does so well. They cause turnovers, fumbles, interceptions. They get the ball continually back for their defense. Now watch the tail end of this. You might see Eugene Robinson coming in here, and he's going to try to pull the ball out. When he comes over there, now watch right there at the end. You'll see him ripping the ball out with his hands, trying to pull that ball free for a fumble.
James again, 1 second down, but he only got about a yard as he crossed over the 20. Maybe got out to the 21.
And this is where Eason is very effective. He has a short passing game. He doesn't try to challenge the defensive secondary deep. Not very often. He does it enough to keep them honest. But they've got a power running game. It's going to be a third down and about 1.5 to 2 yards, or they have the option of that short pass. So he has a lot of weapons back there, Eason does.
Fryer goes wide to the near side. Stanley Morgan wide to the far side. Collins and James split behind Tony Eason on a 3rd and 2. This is Collins, first down yardage to the 26-yard line. Keith Butler, Seattle's big linebacker, one of their big keys to their defense, stopping Tony Collins, but not before he got the first down.
And Ron Wooten, number 61, threw a good block for Collins. This Patriot team reminds me a lot of the old Green Bay Packers. Power offense. They don't try to fool you. They pull the guards when they had the great John Hanna. Then they rip up in there. It's just power, strength football.
How good a blocker is Collins for his size?
He's an excellent blocker for his size. He's not that big, but he really gets into the defensive player.
James stacked up, and I mean really hit hard there at the 25-yard line. Jacob Green, the defensive end, who operates a landscaping business in Houston during the offseason, was able to make the tackle.
Well, this is artificial turf, so he doesn't have any forte out here. But I watched Tony Collins. You said how good a blocker is he? 5'11", 212 pounds, and he just got a whale of a shot. The linebacker came in, he hit him, and I mean, it was just one of those crunch times.
Loss of a yard on the play, bringing 2nd and 11 from the 25-yard line. Double receivers to the far side. That's Morgan and Cedric Jones. Craig James slips as he tries to get back to the line of scrimmage. Got to the 25-yard line. Keith Butler covered him there. Called a gain of 1.
An interesting note, and our fans take notice that we are playing on an artificial turf. This turf has a definite grain to it. It's been down here a long time. It's matted down well. Now the Patriots have an advantage because they practice on this occasionally. They don't practice every day, but they should know which way the grain is, where you can make those real sharp cuts. But it looks as if Seattle has reacted better on the turf today than, in fact, New England.
3rd and 10, a couple of tight ends in there, including Mosi Tatupu, and Eason throwing out here to the near side, completing his pass to Stanley Morgan right in front of the Seattle bench at the 35-yard line. First down, 13-yard gain, and Dave Brown, the cornerback for Seattle, came up to make the hit.
And look at those receptions. 15 receptions already this season. That was number 16, and he really is a rejuvenated Stanley Morgan. Watch how high he has to go for this ball. Good concentration, way up in the air. He's known for his speed, but he really has sure hands, and he has had a fantastic start. They say if he continues with this rate, Tom, he'll be over 100 receptions for the year.
Morgan goes to the top of the screen on a 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Eason turns and hands off to Craig James. Penalty marker down. James gets across the 40-yard line, but we'll have to wait to see what the call is, as Keith Butler was able to stop Craig James for a short gain.
And that's going to be a motion penalty against New England. They evidently, one of their guards or linemen started off just a shade early. Now there's the statistic I was saying. He's got 15 receptions already, but look at that 16-game projection. If he keeps at the same rate, he'll catch 1,700 yards and have over 120 receptions. That's quite a rate.
It can drop quickly, though, if you have one bad game, right?
But you know, the interesting thing, last year he was under a lot of criticism, but he had finger surgery. One of his hands, he had a broken finger, played with it all year. I believe it was a ring finger on his left hand, and he had surgery, and he really has come back and answered his critics loudly.
Yeah, the ball stung him almost every time he tried to make a catch, and that had to be something that was a problem all season long as Eason goes back to pass now. Throws and completes the pass to Irving Fryer. Fryer makes the catch inside Seattle territory. First down, a 20-yard gain. Terry Taylor, along with Keith Butler on the coverage. Would you say Taylor gave up his first reception of the season?
Well, the first one against Terry Taylor, but watch the time. Now look at the time that they have coming off of here. Anybody out there in TV land can tell you that they are just having time to throw the ball. No pressure. When you get down and you have all this time, the ball's not even thrown. There's the ball finally coming into the picture. You can see that Eason had enough time back there to eat a sandwich.
Fryer earlier caught one for 31, has one for 20. The pitch out to James. James across the 40, down to the 39-yard line. Fred Young, Seattle's linebacker, was able to stop Craig James shy of a first down.
You know, his real name is Craig Jesse James. Did you know that? Yeah, I believe his name is Craig Jesse James. So, or Jesse Craig James, maybe that's what it is. But I think he was named after that gunfighter. And he does enough smoking himself.
He's really been a productive player under the Raymond Berry system here. 2nd and 4. Ball spotted at the 39-yard line of Seattle. Game tied at 7. Play action fake for Eason. Steps up. Gets his pass away and completes it to Cedric Jones inside the 20-yard line. Jones is tackled around the 17. Dave Brown and Keith Butler on the coverage. A 22-yard gain, first down for New England, and they're moving, heading for their second touchdown of the game.
And I think the most remarkable thing about Eason is he's not known for his mobility. Now watch the pressure. He steps up in the pocket. He doesn't get flustered. Now watch, he'll set himself again right here. Great pressure from the backside, picks up Cedric Jones in the seam for a big yardage gain. But he's not being flustered, and he's got great mobility.
First down for New England. Collins on the sweep, 15. Collins inside the 15-yard line, down near the 12. Keith Butler again on the tackle, and Butler's playing a very good defensive game for Seattle. Again, the 10-minute ticker. Scores have basically stayed the same over the last 10 minutes, although Dallas now on the scoreboard against Atlanta. Buffalo have lost 2 games by 7 points this season. And Minnesota soundly beating Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh could be in for a long season. Raymond Berry. Eason has completed his last 5 passes. 2nd and 4 from the 12. Tony Collins trying to find a block. Got inside the 10-yard line, down to the 8. Jacob Green there to wrap him up.
And this is where the defense has really become stingy, especially the Seattle team. They don't give up the easy touchdown. They make you work for it. It's going to be close to a first down. In fact, they may have to come out and measure it. Now, I think they're going to say that they did not, in fact, make it. But Seattle becomes very stingy down here. They don't have to drop as deep. They get good reaction from their linemen. They better get good pressure on Tony Eason, though.
3 tight ends into the game now for New England. 88, Willie Scott, along with Greg Hawthorne, 27 and 30. Mosi Tatupu, 3rd and short from the 9-yard line. Everybody in tight. Play action fake to Tatupu. Eason looking to run the ball. 10 now passes for the end zone. In and out of the hands of the number 21, Paul Moyer, the Seattle defender.
Oh boy, if you ever saw a ball hit you in the wrong spot, it hit Paul Moyer. Look at him, he is just stunned. He cannot believe that he didn't catch that ball. Terry Taylor comes over and says, that's okay, I've missed a few of them. But Paul Moyer had that ball right in his hands. It hit him right in the chest. Eason was a little bit indecisive whether to run or whether to pass the ball at the last second. Now watch this. The last second here, he decides he's going to just float the ball up. Right there, there's the indecision. Now watch where that ball hits Moyer, right in the hands. A pretty good defensive play there by, I think, Cedric Jones in the background. He rips the ball out of Moyer's hands. No, that was Tony Collins, 33.
Franklin attempting a field goal. He's good. It's a 26-yard field goal with 6:39 to go first half. New England 10, Seattle 7. Davis and Dave Rowe back again here in Foxborough at Sullivan Stadium, where the New England Patriots lead Seattle 10-7 with 6:39 to go first half. Kurt Warner with a 13-yard touchdown with 5:20 to go first quarter after a Camarillo punt was blocked by Kerry Justin. Later, the Patriots came back on a 6-yard touchdown run by Tony Collins after a Fryer 31-yard reception, and a 24-yard run by Tony Eason. And then 26-yard field goal by Tony Franklin to give New England the 10-7 advantage. Franklin now has made a field goal in 8 straight regular season games, and he's made 7 of his last 8 attempts.
And he has the best field goal percentage last season at 80%. That's quite a record.
How about he bought TVs for his entire
I
specialty?
heard that.
What kind were they?
Black and white 9-inch.
This is Edmonds at the 30, still on his feet. Penalty marker down, and Edmonds struggles out to the 37-yard line. Nice return, but a penalty marker down. Ed Williams of the Patriots made the tackle.
And there's Bob Frederick singing. That signal is an illegal block from the back. What happens is they don't clip them behind the legs like all our fans remember in the old days where you clipped them behind the legs. What they do today is someone pushes them in the upper back.
Illegal block in the rear. Number 21, the kick return team. Will be first down and 10.
Dave, a reminder to our viewers that we will be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game.
And I think this game has got all the earmarks of what we talked about. We talked about a power football running control team, two great defenses, and we haven't been disappointed today.
Seattle with the ball, first down from the 25-yard line. Williams in one of the setbacks. Craig the pass. Incomplete in front of the Seattle bench. Lepet with the coverage. The pass was short. It was intended for Darryl Turner.
I watched Kurt Warner that time swing out of the backfield, and I mean, he got stung. Kurt Warner's coming back and telling Dave Craig, he said, wow, did Andre Tippett hit me when I come out of the backfield? He just about leveled him. Dave Craig hasn't had particularly good stats so far today, only 3 of 8 for 18 yards, but their ground game has been very impressive.
From the 25, second and 10 for Seattle. They're trailing by 3. 10-7 New England, 6:23 to go first half. And Craig going deep. Intended for Turner again. The fly pattern overthrown. Ronnie Lepet once again on the coverage, and Lepet has sort of matched Turner step for step.
Well, he certainly did. That's what you call a keep 'em honest pattern. Every once in a while you have to throw a fly pattern. Darryl Turner's, they call him Burner Turner with the great speed he has, and he just keeps them honest. Doesn't allow the secondary to kind of creep up. He just keeps that fly pattern going along, and there's Lepet. He just ran stride for stride with Darryl Turner.
Lepet, underrated. He's really come into his own after the last couple of seasons. He was burned a couple of years ago against Miami and really suffered through some growing pains, but he's really risen to the occasion and made himself into an excellent player here in New England. 3rd and 10 from the 25 for Seattle. 4 wide receivers, 2 to each side. Craig out of the shotgun. Out of bounds, intended for Ray Butler. Ronnie Lepet for the 3rd time had to cover on the pass, and the fans here in New England were making it very difficult for Craig to call his signals.
Yes, they were. The minute he put his hands up to his mouth to funnel the voice out there, the fans saw that and they all started screaming louder. It's basically the same play there to Ray Butler. They're running a fly pattern. Evidently, the coaches that are up here in the press box thought that Lepet is playing a little bit closer. They're going to keep him honest.
Vince Camacho had a tryout with the Raiders, kicked one for 50 yards his last time. Fryer at the 32, likes to return the football. 40 and 41-yard line, slipped down. Boy, it's really wet over there, Dave, in front of the New England bench. Mike Tice on the coverage. We'll be back from Foxborough in a moment. Slight drizzle early today. It's sort of subsided right now, but as you can see, the visibility is not what you would call great here at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough. 6 minutes to go first half. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe with you on NBC. 10-7 New England with the Patriots with the football at the 41-yard line, first down. Motion from Stanley Morgan. Easton's handoff to Craig James. James very close to a first down on an excellent run there. Picked up quick 10. Bruce Schultz, the linebacker for Seattle, with the tackle. Jets coming on strong. Freeman McNeil not playing. He's out 4 to 6 weeks with an injured elbow. That could be a factor, but the Jets are moving out quickly on Miami. Rams taking it to the Indianapolis Colts now, and Buffalo shutting out St. Louis. Tampa Bay flanking Detroit. Detroit's got a very good record with Eric Hipple at the Silverdome. They're 19-5-1 in home games that Hipple has started. It's a first down on the James 10-yard run.
First down.
So they're into Seattle territory on that first play. Tony Collins to the 46-yard line. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is KING-TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
With 5:16 to go, first half, Tom Davis and Dave Rowe with you in Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. The New England Patriots leading Seattle 10-7. All 10 of the Patriot points coming during the second quarter. Seattle scoring a touchdown against New England, the first TD that the Patriots have given up this season. James, running room, still on his feet to the 40-yard line. Great Gaines, the linebacker, coming up and finally wrestling James to the ground.
And Tony Collins never quit on his block. He ran all the way to the sidelines that time trying to get a block for Craig James, and they did in fact pick up the first down. There's Collins. You talked about his blocking ability. 5'11", 212 pounds, and he can flat out hit you. You know, sometimes everybody thinks that you have to be big to be a blocking back. But some backs block just with finesse, but Collins is one of those ones that just hits you fast. He hurts you.
Collins blocking for James. James runs away from the grain this time to the 33-yard line. Bruce Schultz, Seattle's linebacker, comes up to make the hit. James might be hurt.
He certainly is slow getting up. I think he fell on top of the ball.
This team started to win when Craig James became a starter under Raymond Berry, when they went back to the two-back offense.
And he's kind of coming off of just a well-needed rest. I think that time he just really fell on the ball and just kind of got someone on top of him and just knocked his air out a little bit. Maybe we can see on the tail end of this play, you'll see he's got the ball in his left hand. He gets hit there, and when he falls down right there, the ball's underneath him. And I think that's what happened to him. He just merely got the air knocked out because he did jog to the sideline.
Mosi Tutupu joins Tony Collins in the backfield. Hawthorne, the tight end, lines up on the near side of the field. So it's a strong side left, and Eason turns and hands off to Tony Collins. Collins trying to avoid Jacob Green and cannot. He gets to the 35-yard line, so he's really shy of a yard of the line of scrimmage, with Green and Bruce Schultz making the tackle.
Well, one of the big matchups we talked about is that man 67 and that man there, Jacob Green. Jacob Green has just had a tremendous career there with the Seattle Seahawks. He's been very opportunistic. I think he scored 3 touchdowns himself, something that a lineman rarely does, intercepting 2 passes and running them in and picking up a fumble. But they really are going head-to-head out there today.
3rd and 6 from the 35. Eason from the shotgun has Tutupu and Collins flanking him, and double receivers to the far side of the field. Tutupu on the sweep, close to the first down, got it, down to the 28-yard line. Mosi Tutupu, Eugene Robinson, and Kenny Easley knocked Tutupu down, a 7-yard gain and a first down for the Patriots.
Now, you ought to see, wait till we see Jacob Green, number 79, in this shot, if we've got it. He really came around. Now he's going to come around the outside. Now watch how he gets hooked here. Tony Collins rolls back into him. You just saw the tail end. And Jacob Green was laying on the ground, getting up. Good block by Tony Collins on that play.
Patriots are really down to 3 running backs because Robert Weathers was injured in a car wreck and cannot play, so that reduced the situation down to 3. Fryer with a little bit of motion. Eason with a play-action fake on first down, looping the ball, intended for Tony Collins, but incomplete inside the 5-yard line. Some very good coverage there by Eugene Robinson.
And you talked about Robert Weathers not playing in this game. The story about him that we heard, and I think our fans would enjoy this, it said that he just happened to go out about 1:45 in the morning, get some batteries for a video game that he was playing, and was reaching in the glove compartment for his radar detector, traveling about 35 miles an hour. When he looked up, he hit a tree. Walked 3 miles back home with a severely sprained ankle. I believe a lot of things, Tom. My video games sometimes run out of batteries that time also.
I didn't know you were into that. Tutupu gets to the 26 for a 2-yard gain. Keith Butler comes up, so it's going to be 3rd and 8 from the 26. 2 minutes left here in the first half. New England leading Seattle 10-7 with 2 minutes left. Dave Rowe welcoming you back to Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, where New England leads Seattle 10-7 with 2 minutes left to play first half. Kurt Warner with a 13-yard touchdown run, that coming with 5:20 to go first quarter after a Rich Camarillo punt attempt was blocked by Kerry Justin, and it was quickly turned for a touchdown. In fact, on the very first play after the punt attempt was blocked, Warner ran the football in, but New England came quickly back. Tony Collins capped the drive, a 6-play drive, 67 yards with a 6-yard run, highlighted by a Irving Fryer 31-yard catch and a 24-yard run by Tony Eason. 7-7 after one, and a 26-yard field goal by Tony Franklin has the Patriots on top 10-7 with 2 minutes to go. And out of the shotgun, 3rd and 9 from the 27. Eason throwing for the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots! Stanley Morgan with a 27-yard reception. The Patriots have taken a 16-7 lead with 1:55 to go. Morgan's 49th career touchdown, a new Patriot record.
And the old record held by Sam Cunningham, Sam Bam, and there's a happy Raymond Berry. He's greeting him back. He was really worried about this game, but Stanley Morgan with that great speed. Seattle tried to blitz that time. They picked up the blitz, and it was one-on-one with Stanley Morgan, and the great Burner from Tennessee just flat out beat him, and it was resulted in a touchdown for the Patriots.
Franklin with a point after attempt. Good. 17-7, New England.
And there's Stanley Morgan, number 86 in your picture, and he just flat out gets Terry Taylor turned around. Excuse me, that's Dave Brown turned around, and he just outspeeds him to the corner. But what really set up the play was the fact that New England picked up the blitz by Seattle, and there was no rushing. And you can hear the crowd here. They're starting to react. They're answering the call here. The Patriots are winding up their hands, and the crowd is becoming a factor in the game, Tom.
Patriots bidding for their 3rd straight win to start the season. Franklin kicking off. Edmonds at the 16-yard line. To the 25 on the return. Ed Williams on the tackle. We'll take a look at the touchdown once again to Stanley Morgan.
Well, on Stanley Morgan, what he is doing is he just turns him around. What he did is he got Dave Brown to think inside. When Dave Brown turned back inside, Stanley Morgan put on the F. Now, I don't know where he's going afterwards. He seems to be running up. Maybe he's going to the locker room or something. But how's that for a reception average? 2 receptions, 20 yards per catch. Come back, Stanley. We didn't want you to run away from us.
Patriots have scored the last 17 points of the game and lead Seattle 17-7, and Craig from the shotgun. First down. Craig couldn't get his pass away. Garen Barris, number 60, made the tackle, but there's a penalty marker down.
And I think that's going to be a late hold against Seattle, which is going to compound their problems.
Just a reminder, you get all the scores and NFL highlights at halftime with Bob Costas. The Jets with Johnny Hector with 2 touchdown runs of 1 yard and 6 yards, leading Miami.
Tough day for Buddy Ryan in Philadelphia again.
Tommy Kramer has a couple of touchdown passes to Hassan Jones for the Minnesota Vikings. This is 2nd down, 17 yards to go for a first down. Ball spotted at the 18. Barris, his 2nd sack. Seattle trailing 17-7, 1:39 to go first half, and Craig out of the shotgun again. Andre Tippett wraps up the quarterback, Dave Craig, inside the 10-yard line. Tippett with 16.5 sacks last year nails Dave Craig.
And he does. He blitzes up the middle. Now they're going to try to call a timeout here to see if they can stop the clock, because if they can in fact stop 3 times for Seattle, they will get the ball back in excellent field goal position. With the leg of Tony Franklin, they may even pick up some more points. But Andre Tippett, number 56, is just a force to be reckoned with. He's got great arms. Now you're going to see how quickly he comes up the middle. Craig all of a sudden looks up and says, good night, there he is. I can't get away from him. And Tippett, as you said, 16.5 sacks last year. He is the leader on defense, a black belt karate, and he really uses that agility. Look how quickly he's there. Just sets Dave Craig down.
Many feel he's better than Lawrence Taylor.
Well, he got criticized highly for that because one of the reporters from one of the newspapers or a magazine called and said, how do you rate the linebackers? He said, when I first came in, said Lawrence Taylor I thought was the best linebacker to play this game. And he said I'm trying to be modest, but I think I am. And he may be right.
We're going to have an Art Donovan encore performance at halftime. Art Donovan, the great Hall of Famer, wore number 70 with the Baltimore Colts.
Oh, yeah, that is a classic encore performance. He has some of the greatest stories back there with the Baltimore Colts. The old Gene Big Daddy Lipscomb stories, Alan Amici, and of course the great years that Baltimore had.
He used to room with a guy named Don Joyce, and to keep pizzas warm for breakfast the next morning before a game, they would buy the pizzas the night before and leave the television on all night long and leave the pizzas on top of the TV.
Well, see, he wasn't a defensive lineman now, was he?
Never missed a meal. 1:35 to go first half. Patriots 17, the Seahawks 7. Craig is 3 of 10 for just 18 yards. He's been sacked 3 times, twice by Garen Barris and once by Andre Tippett. His net passing is a -7 yards. 3rd and 26. Ball spotted at the 9. Seattle's in deep trouble on this play. Brent Warner could not get out of the backfield. Brent Williams with the tackle. There's a timeout by the Patriots. They're trying to conserve as much of the clock with 1:27 left to play first half. They're leading 17-7 and would love to get another score before the intermission.
And that Brent Williams, number 96, is a rookie who came in here out of Toledo. No one really gave him a great shot to come in here, and he was a pleasure for this Eddie Kayat coached defensive line for New England. Eddie Kayat said he's got the exuberance to play this game. He's thrilled about playing. Look at him. Well, you saw what he did when he ran off the field. He only took about 6 steps. He was jumping all the rest of the way. But the Patriots, in fact, did exactly what they wanted to on defense. They held Seattle. They're going to have to punt the ball and probably will receive the ball within the 50-yard line.
With 5:20 to go first quarter, Seattle was leading 7-0. Warner's 13-yard touchdown run after a Camarillo punt attempt. Where did New England get back into this game to take the quick 17-7 advantage?
Well, I think they've stopped the entire momentum. The momentum has changed from Seattle. Seattle came out, they blocked that punt. It was a real big play. They came and they capitalized on it right away. But since then, everything that has gone wrong for Chuck Knox and his team has gone wrong. They've had 2 bad punts. They haven't been able to stop them, and Patriots have really capitalized.
Gamache does not have much room to back up in the end zone. Punting for Seattle. Good snap. Coming down at the 41-yard line, Fred Marion makes the catch. Punt rather short, did not get anywhere near Irving Fryer, the return man, and was back around midfield. So New England very close after a 35-yard punt. Excellent field position from the 41-yard line with 1:21 to go first half. It's New England 17 and Seattle 7.
Not want to make a mistake here. For the New England fans, they want to drive, at least get 3 points, hopefully get 7 points. So I look for a rather conservative offense. Short possession type passes, maybe a run here and there.
Eason sets back in his own territory, looking to flare it out to Craig James to the 45. James, 35, down the sideline, 25, pushed out of bounds around the 23-yard line by Kenny Easley. Paul Moyer also there, gain of 17, first down for the Patriots, and they're in good field position now to either come away with 3 or possibly 7.
Well, that was another possession pass. All Eason did was just drop it out to the flat. Now you can see it's about a 3-yard pass upfield. Now watch the great block that Pete Brock, number 58, the center, gets. He knocks down the cornerback, and James gets to turn the corner, get upfield, and gets out of bounds. 17-yard gain.
From the shotgun on first down, Eason to the near side to Greg Hawthorne. He goes out of bounds at the 19-yard line, preserving the clock. Dave Brown was there to run him out, but Hawthorne was looking out of bounds all the way.
He certainly was. Now that's an odd number, by the way, for a tight end, number 27. But the story has it here that Raymond Berry flew to Texas and said, Greg Hawthorne, you're going to be my starting tight end. And Greg Hawthorne didn't know what was going on. He said, I thought I was getting cut. But New England has done exactly what we talked about, possession-type plays. Don't make the big mistake. Don't try to get all the yardage in one big play.
1:08 to go, first half, 17-7, New England leading Seattle. 2nd and 5 from the 19-yard line of Seattle. New England with the football. Eason with a quick handoff to Tony Collins, running right, far side. Coming up to make the hit, Eugene Robinson. They don't allow the out-of-bounds tackle. So the clock continues to roll with 55 seconds going.
And now it's hurry-up play. The offense is going to line up on the ball, see if they can get a quick pass out there so they can, in fact, pick up, either stop the clock or pick up that first down.
Dan Marino has thrown 3 touchdown passes for Miami. Eason down the middle, almost intercepted.
Oh, Bruce Schultz has got to be just sick on that play because it hit him right in the chest. He had a great shot of bringing down that ball, but he just misread it.
Pass was intended for Cedric Jones. Tampa Bay continuing to soundly beat the Detroit Lions.
Now look at that pass right there. That may be Greg Gaines, I think, 56. That is Greg Gaines. So I won't upset Bruce Schultz's family, but that was Greg Gaines, and he had it right in his hands.
Franklin's field goal attempt will come from the 26, making it a 36-yard attempt. No, it hit the upright.
Well, that's only his second miss. The other one was 49 yards, and he hit it wide, and that's something that Tony Franklin has not done very much this season. He is 6 of 7 so far this season, and he has to be upset. Wow, the luck of the bounce. So Seattle escapes a big bullet. Watch here. You'll see the way the ball tails off the tail end, picks up this right there, and bangs off. Now, most soccer-style kickers have a natural right-to-left swing with the ball. It's almost like playing golf, and they have a little tiny hook, and he knows that he should have played it more to the right. Now we're going to have fall-down offense.
Just 35 seconds left to play here in the first half. Franklin has made a 26-yard field goal. Easton has hit Stanley Morgan for a 27-yard touchdown. Tony Collins with a 6-yard TD run, and Kurt Warner has the 13-yard touchdown for Seattle. It's the first touchdown that Seattle make that New England has given up all season long in 3 games. And as they head for the clubhouse, New England 17, Seattle 7 at the half. And it's been a very interesting first half here as New England has really dominated after Seattle got the big break.
And Seattle has to be happy with this because they really were in deep trouble. Had Tony Franklin made that play, they would have been down 13 points. As it is, they're only down 10, and Chuck Knox will take his team back in there. They will go over some of the strategies. What is working on defense? You're playing well. What's working on offense? And we've got to regroup on offense. They have got to get something started offensively, especially Dave Craig. He has got to start the passing game.
Is Craig panicking too much?
I don't think he's panicking so much, Tom. I think that the Patriots are playing good defense, and now they've got a lead, and they can just rush the passer, and they're not worried about the run. But obviously, Seattle has got to come out and establish something.
Minus 20 yards during the second quarter for Seattle. NFL 86 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local stations.
I can tell. You see that? He played the last 2 years without his helmet. That's 1-5. Or I wonder if he came all the way from Seattle. I like his hairdo, though.
Well, Seattle, of course, with a 10-point advantage to start the second half here, and they also have the ball with Irving Fryer wide to the near side, Stanley Morgan wide to the far side. Tony Collins and Craig James, the setbacks behind Tony Collins. And Collins gets the call on first down and gets out to the 23-yard line. Quick pickup of 6.
And they're running at Jacob Green, number 79 for the Seattle team. And big Steve Moore, 67. We talked about his 340 pounds. Good drive block on that play. He handled Jacob Green on that one, but Jacob Green usually gets his share.
Collins with 10 carries for 37 yards.
And Tom, it's really important right now. Our fans in Seattle know that it's important that their defense comes out and stops them. They have got to stop this Patriot offensive team, and they've got to get some momentum back on their offense.
The pitch goes to Craig James on a second down, and James finds running room, gets outside, and gets all the way to the 32-yard line. Good enough for a first down. Great Gaines, linebacker for Seattle, making the hit. Time now to check our 10-minute ticker, and the Jets beating Miami now by 10. Johnny Hector with a couple of touchdown runs there.
You might call that a defenseless game. In the second quarter, you've got 52 points scored already.
Buffalo, they've lost their first two by a grand total of 7 points. They're beating St. Louis. First and 10 from the 32. Eason looking to throw, then dumps it off to Mosi Tutupu, coming out of the backfield at the 30. Cuts back and gets all the way to the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 8. Bruce Schultz, along with Jeff Bryant, were able to make the comeback. It's an 8-yard gain. Halftime in Minnesota, and they're already into the third quarter at the Silverdome.
Now the difference between holding and not holding is a very questionable thing in National Football League. Let's watch Jacob Green here. Now watch, see if Steve Moore is holding here when he gets blocked. Now you're going to see Moore right there. You can see Jacob Green in the back part of your screen there. That was a good cut by Mosi Tutupu back along the grain.
Tony Collins hit head-on by 72. Joe Nash works in real estate in the Boston area during the offseason. Joe Nash, one of the very good 3 defensive linemen that the Seattle Seahawks have.
Well, I think he's an excellent defensive lineman. I don't think he gets the credit. It takes a lot of courage to play in that nose position. You're kind of like someone one time described it as a grenade goes off and he's the man who has to jump on it. That's what a nose tackle plays like. He just sacrifices himself. And Joe Nash has played wonderfully well for the Seattle team.
3rd and 3 from the 39-yard line. Eason with a pass to Tony Collins. It was a little bit too wide left. Dave Brown on the coverage for Seattle. So it'll bring up a punting situation. 4th and 3 from the New England 39. 17-7 favor the Patriots with 12-17 to go third quarter.
You can bet in the halftime that Raymond Berry told Camarillo, don't take such long strides. Get that ball off. They obviously saw something on you, and they think that they can get that pass that rush on that punter. So he is going to get that ball off much quicker this time.
Camarillo averaged better than 43 last year. Got a good rush that time. Edmonds takes the ball at the 19-yard line, has running room to the 25 and gets to the 26. Edmonds gained over 100 yards in punt returns the first week, was held to 17 last week. 12:07 to go, third quarter. New England continues to. Seattle gets its first crack with the football here in the second half, trailing 17-7 with 12:07 left to play third quarter. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe welcoming you back as Kurt Warner takes the handoff, crosses the 30, gets out to the 33-yard line. It's a gain of 7. On first down, and Fred Marion, the free safety for the Patriots, made the tackle.
That's exactly what I would look for Seattle to do, to come back and try to establish that running game. They were very successful when they first started the game, but I don't know why. But you can see the results of what their first half possessions were, but they all of a sudden got into the passing game. It was almost as if they panicked a little bit.
With Williams and Warner, the setbacks behind Dave Craig. Williams gets a shot this time and also takes a shot as he gets near the 35-yard line. Toby Williams, the nose tackle, number 90 for New England, was able to stop John L. Williams, the number 1 pick and the number 3 rusher in Florida history.
And he kind of pushed Byron Franklin in the nose, and he didn't like that at the tail end of that play. You can see Williams trying to get that great leg strength going, pick up that extra few yards. It brings up a 3rd down and 2, and it's really important for your offense. If you want to try to establish some consistency on offense, is the first time you come out to make at least 1 first down, hopefully 2 or 3, or even possibly get a score. That's what changes momentum.
Kurt Warner and Eric Lane now in the backfield on a 3rd and 2 for Seattle. Craig with a short drop to Lane. Lane is tackled at the 35-yard line by New England's linebacker Steve Nelson.
And I think he's going to be short on the play.
He had to get out near the 36, and he was tackled right on the 35, so it'll bring up a 4th and 1, a punting situation for Seattle. They fail to move the ball and get a first down on their first possession here in the third quarter, and Steve Nelson gets a nice round of applause as he goes back to the Patriot bench.
And he deserves it. He's a 13-year veteran. He's been here. He told me one day, he said, Dave, I've just lived a dream for 13 years. I came out of North Dakota State. It's not a major football college, and I've just lived a dream for 13 years as linebacker here.
Gamache with a 49-yard punt earlier. Ball goes out of bounds around the 34-yard line of New England. Gamache appears to be trying to kick away from Irving Fryer, and so far the last couple have been successful. With 10 minutes to go, third quarter, New England 17, Seattle 7. Back to Foxborough and Sullivan Stadium, packed house, starting to clear off a little bit here in greater New England. Patriots with a 17-7 lead over Seattle. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe carrying you through the action here on NBC. New England with the football, second possession. They have a first down from the 35, their second possession of the third quarter. The pitch is to Tony Collins. Collins is tackled around the 38-yard line by Joe Nash, the nose tackle.
What an excellent play by him. He ran all the way down the line. He's playing against a good center in Pete Brock, and he just ran all the way down the line. Good pursuit and made a tackle probably 20 yards from where he started. That's great pursuit by a nose tackle. I know because I played that position.
And Nash played at Boston College, so he's a favorite here, even though he's wearing the wrong colored uniform.
Well, we handled them last night. Penn State did.
Rub it in, right? From the 38, 2nd and 7 for the Patriots. 9:22 to go, third quarter. Craig James trying to find a block. All he could find was 72 Joe Nash.
And Joe Nash did it again. He got hooked on the play a little bit, but played around it and got back over there and made a pile. And he gets credit for it. Even though they tripped over the pile, that's his job. We talked about what it takes to play that middle position. You have to be tough, durable. You've got to be strong. You have to have great, good looks, because I played it, by the way, Tom. But you really do. You have to be a durable player. You take a lot of punishment every time you're getting blocked and hit.
James has 12 carries now for 48 yards, and out of the shotgun, Tony Eason with plenty of time to throw over the head of Greg Hawthorne around the 47-yard line of the Seattle Seahawks. Coverage there by Patrick Hunter.
Well, look at there. You said we're never more than 10 minutes away, and there comes the scores.
Ken O'Brien has hit Wesley Walker twice for touchdowns, 65 and 50 yards in that Jets lead. St. Louis finally on the scoreboard against Buffalo. Tampa Bay stopping Detroit. Big lead there. Punting situation with Rich Camarillo on a 4th and 7 from the 38. Got this one away. Good punt. Driving Edmonds all the way back to his 5-yard line. Edmonds with plenty of running room now. He goes out to the 41-yard line. Bobby Joe Edmonds. It's a 36-yard return, and Rich Camarillo may have saved a touchdown.
He certainly did.
We'll be back with more from Foxborough in a minute.
You don't field punts inside the 10-yard line, but this is what they brought Bobby Joe Edmonds in here to do, to return kicks, return punts, kickoffs, and look at the field position. He gets him a 39-yard return. He broke the Seahawk record the first week that he played against Pittsburgh.
Seattle trailing by 10. Kurt Warner finds the really running tough in there as he tries to make up some yardage. Don Blackman on the hit. There's a gain of 3 on the play, bringing up 2nd and 7.
Got a little pile up there. They have to help everybody out. But look at that offensive output by the Seahawks. They had good output in the first. They drove for 67 yards, a lot of rushing. But look at that in the second quarter. And most of that was the sacks, the minus 20 yards. They went away from their running game. Now they come back, they've regrouped, and they've decided that they are going to, in fact, be able to run it.
Warner with 43 yards rushing on 11 carries. Craig retreats on 2nd down, has time to throw. Intended for Steve Largent on the far side of the field, but it was incomplete as he had to come back on the ball. Ronnie Lepet on the coverage.
And Steve Largent, what a storied career he has had. He only has 1 reception, but that did keep his string alive. But he has just been magnificent year after year. An interesting comment I saw about him, John Stallworth said that he has the strongest ankles in the league, and he has such strength in his ankles that he is able to be more precise on his patterns. He can cut quicker, and he says that's the secret to Steve Largent.
Craig is 4 for 12 for just 18 yards. 6 defensive backs in the game for New England. Out of the shotgun on a 3rd and 7 from the 46. Craig wanting to throw. Complete. Ray Butler has a touchdown, a 54-yard TD, and quickly Seattle is back into this game with 7:34 left to play, third quarter. They're now trailing with a point after conversion by 17-13.
And Ray Butler's not giving up the football. He's going to take it home with him. We talked earlier about how he wanted to to come in here and do well. Mike McCormick saw some promise in him. Ray Butler felt like he was renewed there, and he came in and he really played well on that play. He just beat Vincey Glenn on a straight pattern. Patriots did very much the same thing that Seattle did. They gambled, they tried to blitz. It was one-on-one coverage, and Ray Butler came down with that 54-yard touchdown reception.
Point after attempt by Norm Johnson. Seattle converts, and they trail now by a field goal with 7:34 to go, third quarter, after Ray Butler catches a 54-yard TD. Back again here in Foxborough. Seattle back into the game quickly now with a 54-yard touchdown reception by Ray Butler. Dave Craig with his longest pass of the day. And in this game that has featured no turnovers and very few penalties, each team with just one penalty, it's now New England 17, Seattle 14 with 7:34 to go, third quarter. New England had a 17-7 lead at the half, and we're awaiting Johnson. The kickoff now after the Butler touchdown. It's short. They're letting Fryer come up on it at the 15. Fryer just put his head down and crossed the 25. Simply some good running, but he didn't have too much room to move.
Now, I want to give you a little inside information. Look at Ray Butler. He's looking back at Dave Craig. Dave Craig recognized the blitz and yelled something out to him. Now, when Butler takes off, he realizes he's just one-on-one. He's already got Vincey Glenn beat. He looks over his shoulder, and Craig just threw a beautiful pass. He caught it in stride. But that was Dave Craig, looked over, he recognized the blitz, yelled something to Ray Butler, like go on a fly pattern or an audible, and it resulted in 7 points.
To Tupu and Collins on the running backs. Eason on first down completes the pass to Greg Hawthorne at the 30, and he's driven out of bounds around the 35-yard line by Seattle's Bruce Schultz.
And one of the things that's interesting about both these teams is these teams are very opportunistic teams. The Seattle Seahawks have got 88 interceptions in the last 3 years. They already have 5 takeaways this season. New England's been the same thing. They have had tremendous success taking the ball away, but neither team has turned over the ball today. That's been one of the big stories.
New England now with a 2nd and 2 from their 35. Tony Collins running the football, but he's met head-on with Fred Young, the linebacker for Seattle, coming up. So no gain.
And all of a sudden, I get the feeling that Seattle has got a rejuvenated team. They were quite depressed when they went into the halftime, and I know Chuck Knox had a good talk with him. He's a teacher. He's not a yeller and a screamer. And he went in there. Those coaches instructed these players how to come out, what adjustments to make, and you're seeing the results of those adjustments. The same thing is true of the Patriots. They have got an excellent football coaching staff here.
With motion coming from Hawthorne to the far side of the field. 3rd and 3 from the 34. Eason throwing the football, and it was somewhere between Fryer and Hawthorne, and neither player looked for it.
And Randy Edwards got a great rush that time on Tony Eason.
Dan Marino has 3 touchdown passes, but Ken O'Brien has a pair to Wesley Walker, and Johnny Hector with a couple of touchdown runs. Atlanta and Dallas are really locked up in a tight game. Buffalo continues to lead St. Louis. The Rams soundly thumping the Indianapolis Colts. Now Tampa Bay's up to its advantage over the Lions to 24-6. Bobby Joe Edmonds, the punt returner, set at the 20-yard line of Seattle. Good spiral coming down to Edmonds around the 15. After returning one for 39 yards in his last time, he can only return this for 5, setting up a first down at the 20-yard line. And the fans get into this game a little bit here because, you know, when you think about this, New England had this game well in command at halftime, 17-7. It was a 6-yard return and a 52-yard punt. And New England now on defense, and New England with a 17-14 advantage here late in the 3rd quarter. Dave, I got to wonder whether New England can pick up the momentum again.
Well, I really think that what happened is Seattle came out, their defense has played well. Twice New England had chances to score. They were unable to score, and really they almost escaped the bullet because, as you say, New England could have put this game out of reach, but Seattle has played opportunistic football, and they were lucky to scathe out with only a 17-7 deficit at the end of the first half.
Williams is stacked up for maybe a yard gain as Lawrence McGrew along with Andre Tippett were there to make the tackle. Dave, I got to pose this question to you. Trailing by 3 now, it seemed like Seattle got away from the run, as you pointed out at halftime. Do they go back to it now, trailing only by 3?
Well, they certainly have to go back to the run because it's been successful. It's set up that pass.
At the 22.
Ball on the 22, 2nd and 9. Kurt Warner straight ahead, crosses the 25, gets out near the 27-yard line. We're going to take a second here to pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
You're watching KING TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
Back again here in Foxborough, 5:22 to go, third quarter. Tom Davis and Dave Rowe with New England leading Seattle 17-14. 6 defensive backs into the game for the Patriots. From the 3rd and 4 from the 27, and double receivers to each side out of the shotgun for Seattle. Pass was intended for Ray Butler. Coverage there by Ronnie Lepet. Butler could not hold on to it. It brings up a punting situation. 4th and 4 from the 27, and Seattle will bring Vince Gamache back on field for his, I believe, 5th punt of the game.
And Ray Butler realizes he probably should have had that catch. It was just a quick end pattern. It's a safe pass, timing play, and he just didn't come down with it. But you can't discredit him. He just came up with a 54-yard touchdown.
So Gamache has had 6. I was one off there out of my head.
You're allowed to make one little tiny mistake like that.
Irving Fryer, the return man. This is his 7th punt, and it's going to be short. Hits it midfield. And Fryer will just let it bounce as Seattle covers it. Don't forget, be sure to join us 1 week from today for an exciting NFL doubleheader action. It gets underway with the NFL 86 at 12:30 Eastern Time. Join host Bob Costas along with teammates Ahmad Rashad, Paul McGuire, and Frank DeFord for all the latest news and scores from around the NFL. In the first half, Seattle soars into the nation's capital to battle the Redskins. And the second half features the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium, led by quarterback John Elway, against the defending AFC champs, the New England Patriots. Be sure to check your local listings, games and time in your area. Remember, your team plays it here on NBC. Collins couldn't find too much running room there. In fact, they just barely got back to the line of scrimmage as Fred Young, the linebacker for Seattle, came up.
Well, you know, teams talk about a lapse of memory. As we look there at Fred Young, number 50, teams talk about a lapse of memory. And what happens in a game, as a player, you lose momentum. You get out of the things that you do best. Then all of a sudden, something perks you back up and you get it back established. And that's what Seattle has done. They have come back and they have reestablished their offense a little bit. Their defense is reacting well to it, and they're back in this ball game.
Eason's pass complete for Stanley Morgan inside Seattle territory. Dave Brown made the hit, a 22-yard gain, first down for New England. They lead it 17-14 with 3:55 to go here in the third quarter.
Now what New England is doing is they are funneling the defensive lineman out of Tony Eason's face. See, Jacob Green goes all the way around the outside. There's no one up in front of Eason on that play. He's able to pick up Stanley Morgan, and Stanley keeps his 20 yards per reception, because now he's got 3 for 62 yards.
Morgan leaves the game. Derwin Williams comes in for New England. This handoff goes to Tony Collins. He tries to sweep the far side of the field and gets knocked out of bounds by Jeff Bryant, the defensive end. It's going to be a loss, though, of about 6 yards.
Well, I was watching Steve Moore that time. This is a misdirection play. And what happened, Steve Moore, the play is supposed to give a misdirection, and Steve Moore, number 67, is supposed to lead this. Now, we talked about him being 340 pounds, and you can see he kind of gets left a little bit. But watch Jeff Bryant, number 77. He's got outside containment. He cannot let Collins get outside him, and he does a good job bringing him down for a big loss.
2nd down and 12. Motion from Collins. Eason sets up in his own territory. Ball was batted at the line of scrimmage. It appears that possibly Jacob Green got a hand on it.
Now let me bring up one point real quick before we look at something that's interesting, but let me just say one thing. That time they got up in his face. They got hands up. Jacob Green tipped the ball. But let's look at something even more interesting, because there's what they call the class of '83. Now you know a little bit about that, don't you? Now there's the tip, first of all, by Jacob Green. But see, they're up in his face. But we're going to take a peek at this class of 18. I think it's really interesting to our fans out there to see what a historic class that was.
Eason, one of the 6, 12 of 22 for 178 yards. He's running with the football as a penalty marker comes down. Eason to the 30 and slides down to the 24-yard line, but there's a penalty marker all the way back at the 45-yard line of New England. Patrick Hunter was there to cover after the 19-yard gain, but it may come back.
Oh, that's definitely going to come back. Where that flag is thrown, that is offensive holding 9 times out of 10, and it's just going to be a negated long run by Tony Eason. But the fans are reacting to his running. Well, they're going to call out number 67. That's Steve Moore. Now, you might see it down the bottom of your screen here. Now, there's Steve Moore. Now, watch those arms. See how quickly he got him outside? Look at that. He's got him around the helmet.
Oh.
You can't hold on like that. Randy Edwards got held terrible on that play. The referee saw it, and this big, long gain is negated. Steve got his hands way out there.
We're going to come back into New England territory at the 44-yard line, bringing up a 3rd and 22. Tutupu and Beatty are on field out of the shotgun formation for New England. Fryer with the motion. And the snap mishandled by Eason. He throws a wobbler complete to Irving Fryer. Fryer makes the catch at the 45 and takes it to the 43-yard line.
Well, you want to look at the report card now for the class of 83? How about it?
Why not?
All right. I knew we were going to come to this sooner or later.
It's like having a piece of birthday cake and not being able to eat it.
That's right. Well, now, these are all first-round draft choices. You can see the pick on the left. That's as they were picked in the first round. Look, Dan Marino, 27th, but look at these people. That is a real class of quarterbacks.
And Dave, with the exception of Todd Blackledge, the 5 are all the top 5 passers in the American Conference this week in the latest statistics. Camarillo with the punt, nearly blocked. The ball will hit around the 17, and it'll be marked at about the 16-yard line.
I don't know how Sam Merriman missed that punt. That ball was right on the edge of his fingertips. They are really putting a lot of pressure on him. Now watch, you'll see Sam Merriman come in. He's number 51. Now watch, just as the ball goes off, now watch him come into your picture. Look there. Oh, it went right between his arms. Oh, wow. I think that ball went between his arms.
There's just 2:03 left to play in the 3rd quarter here in Foxborough. Kurt Warner with a 13-yard touchdown run early. Ray Butler with a 54-yard TD reception. There are the 2 Seattle scores. Tony Collins with a 6-yard run for one of the scores for New England. And also later on, it was a 27-yard touchdown pass to Stanley Morgan and a Franklin field goal. As we watch now on 1st down here, John L. Williams with the run and Blackman with the tackle for New England. Let's bring up a 3-yard gain and a 2nd and 7 from the 20-yard line. Never more than 10 minutes away from the latest scores here on NBC. The Jet-Miami game must really be a great one there.
No, and Denver is just absolutely killing Buddy Ryan. He's 0-3.
From the 20-yard line, 2nd and 7 out of the I formation for Seattle. They're trailing by 3. Kurt Warner took the handoff, took a hit, but broke free and got back to the 21. Don Blackman provided the initial impact to slow him down. Lawrence McGrew, along with Garen Veris, finished him off.
And a lot of people think that Don Blackman, if he was not on this team with Andre Tippett, would be probably one of the outstanding linebackers on this team. He would get a lot more recognition. But in fact, he is not getting that recognition because Andre Tippett has been such a dominant force at linebacker.
Tommy Kramer's thrown a couple of touchdown passes for the Vikings today, by the way.
Now, he wasn't in that class of 83. He's old. He's like you and me.
6 defensive backs in the game for the Patriots. 3rd and 6, ball spotted at the 21. 45 seconds to go, 3rd quarter.
I wonder if he'll go to Largent.
From the shotgun, the ball, maybe Craig's arm was pulled down as he went to pass the football. Toby Williams, the nose tackle there, along with possibly Andre Tippett, prevented the pass from getting any velocity and getting really away from the backfield. So it'll bring up a 4th and 6 from the 21, a punting situation for Seattle.
And Dave Craig was there cheering on his offensive lineman. He said, just give me a little bit more time. I think I can get it off. But that time, the Patriots again blitzed, Tippett, Blackman, they all came up in there, and I think, in fact, they did touch either the ball or his arm.
Gamar showing the punt once again for Seattle. Notice, Dave, all of his punts have been short for Fryer. They sort of hit about maybe 5 yards in front of Fryer. I don't know whether he's trying to do that purposely or not.
Well, no, he's not trying to do that purposely. Coaches will tell you that's the cardinal sin, to allow that ball to drop. It was only a 36-yard punt, but no return. But coaches will tell you, don't let that ball drop. Now, when they do the scouting report of the other team, they place that defensive receiver, in this case Irving Fryer, at about the yard line that they think the ball is going to come down. But Fryer's been back a little bit too far. Now, he should make an adjustment up to not allow that ball to touch the ground. Fair catch it if you've got a lot of pressure.
Collins and Morgan with the touchdowns for New England. They all came in the first half. We're in the final 30 seconds of the third quarter. Patriots leading by 3. Swinging it out to Tony Collins, 40. He's going to be driven out of bounds by Taylor at about the 43-yard line. Terry Taylor, who had not given up a reception over the first 2 games.
Terry Taylor just kind of jumped on his back and rode him out of bounds more so than anything. But we've got just what we expected here. We knew that it would be a good defensive struggle. Both teams have played well. We've got great ground attacks. We've got conservative passers. We've got teams that don't make mistakes. They don't cause turnovers, and they don't lose ball games themselves. Each team has come out and said, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us. We won't beat ourselves.
2nd and 9 from the 44. Easton with a play fake. Has time to throw and does down the middle, but it's short for the intended receiver, Irving Fryer, at the 40-yard line. He had to try to short hop that ball. And
this defensive line for Seattle is really working hard now. They're only rushing 3 linemen. They're not blitzing those linebackers. So these linemen, Jeff Bryant, Joe Nash, they have really got to work hard in there. You can see that the trajectory of the ball was way short. It may have gotten tipped. It may have just slipped out of his hands, but it was not a crisp pass. This Seattle team is really working hard on defense. And Easton is only 14 of 25 for 192 yards. That's not bad for 14 completions.
Has yet to throw an interception this season, in fact, from the shotgun, 3rd and 9. Easton's pass is complete. Stanley Morgan making the reception. Dave Brown on the coverage. 12-yard gain, first down for the Patriots. They're inside Seattle territory. And that's the end of the third quarter. Seattle leading the Seattle Seahawks 17-14 after 3 periods of play.